I've got this vivid memory of me in 4th grade wearing these blue polka dot shorts on the playground, and this girl comes up to me and asks, "Where did you get your shorts?" And instead of telling the truth that I bought them at Goodwill, I lied and said Target. Now, a lot has changed since then, and I now always announce where I get my clothes from, which is mostly from the GW, or Goodwill. And with the rise of songs like Thrift Shop by Macklemore in 2012, thrifting has become more mainstream. But what exactly is Goodwill? There's a lot of rumors on the internet about the evils of this huge corporation. And when I say huge, I mean huge. It's one of the biggest thrift chains in North America, and in 2017 it had $5.87 billion in total revenue. So in today's video, we're going to be diving into the history and the work of Goodwill, addressing some of those rumors, and ultimately deciding, should we still be giving Goodwill our items and our dollars? Goodwill Industries is a 501c3 nonprofit that strives to enhance the dignity and quality of life of individuals and families by helping people reach their full potential through education, skills training, and the power of work. Goodwill achieves their mission by collecting donations from the community and then hiring people who have disadvantaged or barriers to entry in the workforce, and then selling items that are donated for profit. Which leads me to the first rumor, that Goodwill is a for-profit entity. It's not. Just because a company makes profit does not mean it's for profit. Goodwill's model is closest to a social enterprise, which means that it generates profits and those profits go back into the company instead of being distributed to shareholders. There are also rumors going around that the CEO of Goodwill makes millions and millions of dollars, where the truth is not as much. His name is Jim Gibbons, and he makes around $700,000 a year. Another misconception about Goodwill, and which makes things a little bit more complicated, is that people think it's like this one big entity. And in reality, Goodwill is Goodwill Industries, and then there are 161 local chapters of Goodwill, kind of like a franchise model. And in North America, there are over 3,300 Goodwill storefronts. For me, the individual retail fronts of Goodwill in San Diego are all owned by the Goodwill of San Diego County, which has a separate board of directors and separate rules and procedures than the Goodwill Industries, which is the main boss, the HQ, you know. So this makes giving viewers a holistic view of every Goodwill really difficult, because each of the 161 conglomerates have different annual reports, different board of directors. But to really know about your Goodwill in your area, if you're in the US, you're gonna have to dig a little deeper. Which, sorry, I'm making you think. Alright, so you know kind of the history of Goodwill, what it does, we've addressed some rumors. Now let's get on to the dicey portions. Goodwill intends to give a hand up, not a hand out, which kind of ties back into their social enterprise model. Goodwill Industries pays disabled workers specifically through the Fair Wage Standards Act of 1938. Fancy title. Okay, so what is this law? It basically says that people who are disabled can be paid below the federal minimum wage, called a sub-minimum wage. So sub-minimum wages are based on how productive a person with disabilities is compared to a non-disabled worker doing the same task. And in Goodwills of San Diego County specifically, 14% of workers are paid at this sub-minimum wage. Now, one of the problems with calculating exactly the impact of this is it's not reported how much below the federal minimum wage is, because it's such a subjective process. Goodwill Industries has stood behind their use of sub-minimum wages because they feel that if they had to employ all of their current disabled workers at minimum wage, not only would payroll costs skyrocket, but the work centers would no longer be able to provide additional supports. One of the things I want to promote on this channel is creating your own opinions, so I'm just here to try to give you the most unbiased facts that I can, and obviously I have biases too, so it's difficult to give complete fact-based reporting, and I'm not a reporter as well. But my opinion on this is that this is a great injustice, and I will be calling my representatives and talking to them about it. There's already legal precedent in Alaska, New Hampshire, and Maryland that says that this is wrong. For a couple of viewers who are outside of the US, I'm curious if you know anything about the labor standards in your countries, or if your countries do things differently with people who are differently able. Other than hiring disabled people, Goodwill also creates employment centers or employment opportunities for people who have barriers to work. So in San Diego County, we actually have just opened a new employment center near the border in San Ysidro. In 2017 in San Diego County, 1,034 people actually got jobs through Goodwill's employment services. So continuing on with some of the dicey aspects of Goodwill, we're going to be talking about a little bit about the environment, because this is, as I said, a sustainability channel. One of the biggest misconceptions about Goodwill is that when you donate items, it goes directly to families in need and they don't need to pay for it, which is not the model at all. So a lot of the items that are donated actually don't even make it out onto the floor because they're such poor quality. The items that are not in resellable condition are either thrown away or recycled. Of donated items in San Diego County, Goodwill claims to have recycled 14,332,783 pounds of material. And Goodwill of San Francisco claims that whatever we can't sell in our stores, we sell in bulk through our aftermarket business and outlet stores. And this is traditional for any type of thrift store, and I think I'll do another video on the afterlife market of secondhand goods, because that's a rabbit hole that I can't. No one wants to sit and listen to me for 30 minutes in one video, so I will break that one up. And I really couldn't find the numbers on total items recycled through Goodwill Industries as a whole, because each of them are in annual reports. So if I was really, really dedicated, and if you are really, really dedicated, you can add up all of the recycled numbers in all of the 161 annual reports. Maybe it's my bias toward wanting to see more sustainability transparency, but it doesn't make sense for me that a company of this size has so much lack of information when they deal with goods that consumers think that are so worthless that they give away for free. So, some closing thoughts. I really didn't want to know more about Goodwill. I wanted to shop in my blissful haze, in my color-coded sections of the San Diego Goodwills, and not have to think about all these environmental and ethical issues. But then I realized these are exactly the same reasons why I quit fast fashion. So I don't understand why we don't hold companies like Goodwill as accountable as H&M when it's the same kind of issues in both. And I understand that a charity is very different than a profit-making fast fashion brand, but that doesn't mean that we can't be skeptical of something. I've come to the conclusion that I'm still going to shop at Goodwill. A couple reasons for this, mostly because they're kind of the monopoly of their stores, especially where I am, so I don't really have consumer choice in that aspect. And also I think that by calling and emailing my representatives about the sub-minimum wage, and there's already legal precedent there, that maybe that'll get solved. But as for environmental issues with Goodwill, I think reaching out to the company and voicing our concerns about that will get them to act. Maybe it is just simply a unknown and they don't realize that their consumer base wants to know this information and it is available. A girl can hope. Our social society does not have to exist in binary terms. And what do I mean by that? Basically, Goodwill does not have to be either evil or good. It can exist somewhere along this spectrum. We can thoughtfully analyze situations and come up with not the best course of action, but the better course of action. And as long as we use our brains and think with our hearts and our minds, then I think that we can get some sleep at night. Hopefully. I need my 8 hours. If there are more companies or issues that you want me to do deep dives into, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. And if you'd like more content about slow living or sustainability, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the notification bell to get emails every single time I post. Also, if you're interested in seeing somewhat irregular pictures and mostly of plants, go ahead and follow me on Instagram at sarah.karver. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you friends in the next one.